Welcome, everybody, to the Hustlers Huddle.
Hello, hello.
Your networking podcast about you. Hey, welcome, guys. I got here with me, as always, my man, Chris Whitwell. So Chris, you got to say something. It's a radio medium.
But we got, hi guys, I'm here.
Also joining us as usual, we got, actually, Chris.
It's not as usual, actually.
I'm going to step back. All right, you got this.
Here's what happened, and we're kind of putting him on. He's already blushing.
Look at this guy. Oh, y'all can't see him, but just wait.
We had an amazing guest last week, PJ Toms, you may remember.
Thank you.
We were just calling him Magic Man, and he did say that everything works by Magic. There it is. So we are very fortunate. After the show, we had some talks, and we came to the conclusion that we had to have him here. We had to have a producer. So
no better partner.
We are so fortunate. PJ is the reason that this is going to be successful and is already successful. He's the reason that we're even able to have guests, and we could not do without him.
Thank you so much, PJ. Hey, so before we get started, without further ado, PJ, jump on a mic real quick. Say what's up.
Just don't get too. Come in here, big guy.
What's up, everyone? Hey. Good to be here. Excited. Looking forward to this.
Happy to have you. You guys are getting real intimate over there. Don't get in on my space, bro. All right.
We got to get this guy a mic.
For sure. So, hey, a lot of future things coming. As we mentioned last time, guys, our main goal is to deliver to you all not only the content in need, but the content that's going to bring you success in your networking endeavors, quite frankly, right? We want to be able to kind of bring that to you. So today, as always, we are looking for the best, brightest, and, quite frankly, the best hustlers around. I've got with us today none other than Josue Martin.
How's it going, guys?
How you doing, Josue?
Hey. How you doing, sir?
Y'all can't see PJ, but he's over here bowing off the off camera out here.
We're not worthy. We need to get like that, like one
in
the back, have Garth coming up in there.
We're not worthy. Yo, we're
don't sue me.
Screen in the back. That's on the wish list. I like that.
Yes. So tell us a little bit about yourself. What do you do? Who you are?
My name is Josue Martin. I'm from Los Angeles, California. I moved to San Antonio about 15 years ago.
Okay.
I do real estate full time. I invest as well, and I help coach and mentor other businesses and any other young professionals that want to make it in their area of
beautiful
expertise, whatever that is, music or anything.
Hey, so as anybody that listens to the podcast knows that music is touches a certain nerve around here. So both Chris and I have an affinity for music. So we're going to shelve that, but we are absolutely going to pick your brain on that in the future.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
So talk to me, man. So you said from Los Angeles, like somebody that's, I don't know, a music guy, LA, like isn't that where you want to be? What brought you to San Antonio? What was the epiphany that was like, hey, SA is the spot?
So in my family, it's my mom, dad, sister, and then I have a twin brother as well. Mm-hmm. So we lived in like a middle class part of the San Fernando Valley. Actually, it's within like the Los Angeles limits. It's kind of like San Antonio. It's like Converse type.
Sure.
And our parents just decided
shout out
they
Converse.
Want. Yeah.
Oh, Niner.
We wait, isn't
y'all got to be from San Antonio to know that. But it's true.
Yeah, okay. I was like Converse 09. This doesn't sound right.
109. We don't got the 2, but we're still in the game.
You see what we did there?
And so my parents just wanted like a less hectic lifestyle. My dad had a pretty big landscaping company out there, and he wasn't really going to our Little League baseball games. And so they just kind of wanted something a little more relaxed. And my mom's best friend lived in San Antonio, so they figured, let's check it out, see if we like it. So they just made the move, and we're pretty flexible. We're not very picky, so we're like, hey, if you're happy, we're happy. So we've been here since we were like about 13 years old. We're 27.
And who's not happy in SA? Come on, let's be honest.
Yeah, it's actually gotten a lot better. I love San Antonio.
Hey, man, not a lot better. It's always been good. Don't bring that LA nonsense to me about better, all right?
Hey, from DFW, it's a lot better.
Hey, from everybody, even those of us from San Antonio, it is absolutely progressing every day. I'm just giving the guys a hard time.
I like that we were able to come in and we're like, hey, man, so we're not going to put our view in, and as soon as somebody says no, I'm like, no, I'll put my kids on it. I don't have any.
He'll put my kids on it, but for real, we go deep. Hey, so listen, I think something that stood out to me, besides obviously picking San Antonio as a final resting, or not final resting spot, but, place to plant roots and a place to grow your all's family, your family. Your mom picked up and moved across the country on the advice of a friend. Is that correct?
Yeah, so we have an aunt that lives in Houston. So that's kind of the original idea.
Okay.
And her best friend lives in San Antonio. So originally we went to Houston to go stay with my aunt over there. And then they decided, oh, let's check out San Antonio. And like they just found like the house that they
That's
loved.
what's up, yeah.
And I mean, we're all pretty flexible. We're all pretty family oriented.
Hey, change is the only constant in life, man.
Yeah.
The sooner you can get flexible with that and get in on the gig that you're going to change nonstop, the quicker things are going to go better for you.
Oh, for sure. So like my dad and like his brothers, right? They have on my mom and dad's side, they both have like big families, and on both sides, like on my dad's side, they're more like they stick together. They kind of stay on the same spot. My mom's side, they're more they go where they want to go, right? They have a bigger destination, and by that
Manifest
I mean
destiny.
Yeah. So by that I mean like we have uncles who live in Georgia, Florida, California.
Wow,
they move all over the place. And then on my dad's side, they're all in the same little part of like Los Angeles, which is like Inglewood, Hawthorne, which now it's gentrifying, so it's pretty nice.
Yeah. Hey, they waited it out.
Yeah. I know you guys remember like Inglewood in the 90s, not fun, right?
I heard about
Yo,
some rap
Tupac
songs.
says it was pretty fun, bro. Because that was a different scene.
I was not-
Inglewood, up to no
I was not
good.
cool enough to go anywhere near Inglewood. They didn't even let me in LA in the
Yeah.
90s.
It wasn't that good, honestly. And my dad was the only one who actually progressed from that. He said, you know what, like we live in Inglewood, Hawthorne. Let's move somewhere else. So that's when we moved. We like about 40 minutes away from that area, and then from there he moved again to Granada Hills, or we all moved to Granada Hills. So we were used to change. So them just telling us we're moving again to us was just like
Whatever.
it's cool. Like,
Almost like PJ, like military, like it's just part of life. It's what you do. Hey, change is change.
make new friends. You know, it's not a big deal to us.
Man, so that's awesome. I'm gonna go back to this because I still harken back to the notion that like you guys picked up and moved across the country based on the word of somebody you trust.
Yes.
So if that doesn't speak to the heart of not only this program, but what we're trying to do in terms of networking, building relationships, building trust. I mean, I literally like, hey, we didn't even pay this. We'll pay you afterwards. I got to check the mail, but we didn't even pay him before that. To
It
say
may
that.
take 2 years to get there, but
Can
it's
we
in
post
the
date that? How does
mail.
that work? No, but like,
I put it on American Airlines plane to get to you, so it'll be a little bit.
hey,
Oh,
they
okay,
get delayed.
okay,
I don't know if you
lost.
heard the systems get down. No, but guys, really, I mean, listen, we're making light of it, and it is a joke. But I think that's a pretty profound statement to the testament that the trust and the relationship that they had, that she felt not only confident enough, but felt she needed to pick up her family and move them across the country to be able to provide a better opportunity based on the recommendation of somebody she trusted. That's phenomenal, man.
Yep.
So what have you done? So you're here now since what? 05?
05.
Okay,
05.
05.
Quick
You come
math.
in.
Look
Yeah.
at the big brains on Brett.
Hey,
I'm terrible at math. That was good. I'm impressed.
Hey, we're out here trying to be somebody. We do a little research. If only there was this website where I could look people's names up and learn things about them. What do they call that? I don't. What did PJ call that?
MySpace.
No, I think it's called Magic. David Copperfield up in here. Hey, yo, throwback to episode 1, people. Y'all need to check it out. So here's the deal, though. So you've been here since 05. You quickly, I heard about you. You're obviously sitting in front of us, right? That's for a reason. So you've made a name for yourself. You've made an impact on the right people. It's my understanding that you initially got in with into the tech industry, correct? Into mobility,
Yes.
wireless, yeah.
Yes.
So tell me about that transition. So then also, I want to preface this with now, obviously, you being in real estate sales. I think it's always super interesting to watch somebody's growth and kind of their arch, right? In terms of, hey, how do you start here and then end up in a completely different destination? My guess is, and I could be wrong, but my guess is what you're going to probably tell us is a lot of it has to do with relationship and hustling the whole way.
Actually, yeah, you're absolutely right.
All right, let's hear it, man.
I'm done
Story
here.
time.
Done. It's done.
Yeah.
It's done.
Yeah, story time. We'll be quiet now.
So the way it happened was I was actually working in retail. I started retail after I stopped doing music. So I was doing music, and we can talk about that like down the line. But I did music for a while, kind of stopped doing that. Started fashion retail.
We will talk about that. Now we can. We will.
It's a lot of good information there. So I ended up doing like fashion retail. And I remember one day, my brother was working at the mall, and so was I. And he was like super relaxed, always getting Starbucks. I mean, having the time of his life. And meanwhile, I was doing the fashion retail stuff, which was fun too. And I did learn a lot. However, I was like, man, like all I have to do is learn some new trades, and I can do what he's doing. So I decided to go for T-Mobile.
Time out.
Go ahead.
What did you just say? I want to emphasize this because we're going to come back to this later. We're going to have a tip of the day later. What did you just call what you did?
Pick up a new trade.
Pick up a trade.
Yeah.
Did you go get a job or did you pick up a trade and learn a skill?
I picked up a trade and learned a skill.
This guy's right here. This is, again, I have to highlight this. This is the difference in mentality between an employee and a hustler.
He's a hustler, baby.
I just want you to know.
Ho!
Hey. Remember we were talking about music. Yeah, we coming back, yo. No, but for real, listen. Here's the reality. This is a hustler. I am passionate about this. People that know me know this. Sales is not I'm going to go out and see where the world takes me. Let me slang some stuff. It is 100% a skill. It is absolutely a trade. And you have every ability within your own right to hone it and make it better. Sorry, man. I had to interject on that because I loved that you called that a trade. That's something that's really close to me personally.
So bringing it back, you were in the fashion industry, which I do want to say that it makes sense because you're sharply dressed.
Look at
Those
this
of
guy.
you that are listening and not watching,
I'm out here in
he's
some
very
Uggs.
I got a shirt from a country I've never been to. Like, you know what I mean? That's what I'm wearing right now. I'm like, but I'd like to go Brazil International or whatever. Like, if you want to sponsor me to come out, I would love to.
He's like, no, actually, it's not called that. I've been there.
He's like, and I got there because I learned to trade and I started hustling.
And I got the real T-shirt.
But that said, so you were in the fashion industry on the sales side or the retail side, I should say. You learned your new trade, right? And take us from there.
So I learned a new trade, and I figured, you know what? My brother's doing it. I want to do it too because I see him doing pretty well, and I kind of wanted to have that similar like lifestyle. In terms of like mindset, like he seemed very like calm, right? So I ended up picking up a new trade, going at T-Mobile, working there for a little bit, and I've always been in love with the process. Like my whole thing has always been, I always pick the biggest job, whatever no one wants to do, I want to do it because I feel like once you get past that, and you learn so much along the way that once you get to the top, wherever that is, you appreciate it. You never look back and go like, oh, look how far I've come. You more appreciate where you're at in the moment. I feel like when you self-reflect, you're a lot more at peace with where you are. Versus if I were to just jump in and just be at the top, I wouldn't know what it's like to ever be doing this, like smaller jobs, right? So he gave me a good word. I went to a good store, and immediately I was like, whatever training you guys have, I want to be on the floor and train at the same time. And it was
so were you getting paid extra to do this training, or was it something you just took on and said, hey, I'm trying to hone this craft here?
It's something that I wanted to do. Like I would honestly.
So you mean to tell me that from time to time you might have to take on some things in addition to what you're paid to do to get better?
Definitely.
Oh, okay. All right. I was just trying to clear that up for a second.
Hold on. Because I like to get paid for what I do.
We all do. But clearly my man Josue over here understands, like we do, there's a much larger picture out there, right? Like we all want to get paid for what we do, man, but like I genuinely think a lot of people don't understand this. That sometimes you got to pick up the extra. You know, Chris is joking out here, but dude, if you call this guy on the weekends, like, which by the way, we'll talk later. It's kind of annoying because I call him on the weekends and he's always working, man. And I'm like, yo, I need some time. Like, can you give me a couple of minutes? He's like, I will, but I'm busy doing A, B, and C. But that's the hustler mentality, right? Like, it's not about going out there and saying, listen, if you're not going to pay me whatever, they want to argue about raising the minimum wage, and we won't have that conversation. That's neither here nor there. But if you want to go out and argue about that's all I want to get paid, that's all you're going to get paid, man. Like, I got news for you, right? So, sorry to interject, man, but go ahead, please.
I've always said, like, you don't have to get paid for everything that you do as long as you're learning, right? So when I was at T-Mobile, that's what happened was they had the way they had it back then, like a few years ago, their program was you had to be in training for X amount of weeks before you can officially get paid, right?
Okay.
So I essentially did the computer training that I had to do, and the other 3 weeks, I was working for free. Like, I was getting paid my hourly, right, because they had to pay me hourly. However, I wasn't getting paid any commission. I was literally just out there learning, working, and the end result was I ended up being number one, and then it ended up resulting in me getting all these certifications, and it was fun. However, how I fell in love with the process of getting through a difficult situation career-wise, whenever I was doing the music thing or the fashion thing or now tech, I was just as passionate as a tech as I was fashion and music. You know, I've always told people I was never born with a natural talent to be good at something like sports or music. You know, some people are just born like they're the best at everything. The gift that I have is the gift to teach and the gift to never give up. So
I was about to interject again.
I was like,
hey, I'm trying to hold myself back here, but you guys know what I'm good at. I'm super good at interrupting. Yeah, I'm off. No, man, listen, we had a guy on the other day. Super humble. He's a professional golfer, man, right? And he gave us the spiel that, well, you know, I just I saw that with golfing, it was A, B, and C, a better route. And I saw with tennis, it was B, C, and D. So I took the lazy route and went golfing. And I said, nah, man, no, you didn't. You chose a better route. And you tell me right now that, hey, I took learning and not pay. And, I did this because I have no skill. I didn't have a natural gift. Yeah, man, I've got to disagree. Respectfully and humbly, you clearly have a natural gift. You have a gift of will. You have a gift of intensity. You have a gift of hustle. You cannot teach that. I have been a sales manager. I can teach skill all day. I can teach tactics. I can't teach what you were born with. So to say that you have no natural gift, I have to wholeheartedly disagree. You clearly have a natural gift. The other thing I would add to that I thought was really important that you said, I was trying to make a note, I wasn't quick enough. But you mentioned that hey,
get faster.
I would take right, I'm not as fast as Josue, bro. I just told you he was born with a natural gift to hustle.
PJ, you're in. Chris, you're out.
Swap him out, coach. Rotate him.
Pull him in.
Hey, so if you guys are watching, you can't see PJ. We all played our different sports.
Yeah.
I'm out here doing the soccer rotate. Yeah. PJ's doing the baseball rotate.
And I'm just throwing my hands up because I don't know what's going on anymore.
Chris is like, I don't know what to do.
I'm like, save me. Take me out, coach.
No, man, but this is so funny. So my grandpa grew up in a different time, right? Like growing up in the early 1900s, let's be honest, right? Being a Mexican American, like he didn't have the opportunities that we have today, right? But he became a scientist. He worked at the Department of Agriculture. And one thing that he always preached to us is that one thing nobody can ever take away from you is education and knowledge. So while you may not have worked for dollars, you clearly worked for some sort of currency, and it's advanced you to the point where you're at today. So people need to understand that, be able to take a step back and say, yo, I may sacrifice a monetary value for this set of skills, trade, and or understanding that I'm about to gain, but it's going to give them a better life set and a better grasp on what they're about to deal with, man. So I disagree with you when you say you weren't born with any natural skill sets, my friend.
In other words, to recap it.
Bring it back.
Josue's the big deal. He's
the
big fucking deal.
Yeah.
But he's humble.
We try not to cuss all the time, but sometimes it's necessary.
Yeah, well, you gotta understand, guys. I bounce around between the radio show and the podcast, and sometimes I'll get in the radio show mentality, and it's all buttoned up, laced up, like, well, please tell me about
Chris, as a matter of fact, I think we're running short on break, so we're going to bring in our sponsor, Acme Brick, today. No, never mind. Sorry. That's not actually happening.
So my bad, but no, like we appreciate your humbleness. Humble goes a long way in this industry, and that's why you've gone so far in the sales side of things. But we can't take away from your successes, right? You're here because you're successful, so we appreciate that.
Yeah, thanks, guys. No, let me just reiterate with that. I didn't mean like I wasn't born with the talent. It was more like whenever I was in California, I was in band because band was actually pretty cool. Right. Believe it or not.
You play the saxophone back in the day, bro?
I played the trombone.
Dude, second coolest instrument.
Yeah, trombone.
Behind the tuba.
I played, let me tell you real quick, funny story since it's on, because I don't know whoever's going to bring up saxophone ever again. I played saxophone in junior high. I was so bad, right? I was so terrible at it.
Is it weird that saxophone was the cool instrument back then?
I tried to Kenny G it, but I couldn't. So I'm in there, and you know how they rate you by chairs, like first chair. Best, right?
How humiliating. You suck at tuba.
I was 13th chair, right? Which was the last person. Oh, I was the most terrible, but we only had 12 physical chairs. I had to stand, bro, until I was like, forget this, I'm out.
Hey, so that gives me a new idea for the podcast, ladies and gentlemen. Let me grab this chair.
Oh, man.
Good thing these mics adjust, man. That's hilarious.
Anyway, so the music side of it, you were probably getting frustrated. Like, look, I was expecting this innate ability.
Yeah, so I wanted to do percussion. However, everyone wanted to play the drums in band. So I picked up the trombone, and I was never as fast at learning about the drums as some of the other guys. I was like, okay, cool. So I made it a goal. You know what? I want a drum set. I got a drum set for Christmas, and I practiced every single day until I ended up getting sponsorships. I became friends with my sponsors.
So a full kit.
Full kit. And then in California at the same time, we're in baseball. Same thing. We were in a team that lost every single game. One season, the same team came back for the second season, and the coach never gave up on us. He's like, you know what? I want to work until you guys are like really good, and all you guys have some sort of ability. And that coach, I forgot his first name. Is that Paul Weiskopf.
What up, Paul?
Yeah, Paul's.
Shout out
Shout
to
out.
Paul,
Honestly,
Coach
if-
Weiskopf.
If I can find Paul, like I would take him out for lunch or something because he was the main reason why I never quit on anything moving forward in life because
Love
he
it.
never let us quit on ourselves.
Love it.
So-
And this is a reiterate. What kind of coach?
Little league baseball coach.
So imagine this, guys. Anybody who has the impact of a child. It doesn't matter who you are, what you're at, right? You clearly don't play MLB baseball today, right?
Correct, yep.
But that impact, that
I played like MLB 19.
well, I mean, we're not talking about your style, Chris. We already went over that
Oh,
gamer thing. Like
my
we're
bad.
actually talking about real life
I do
right
play
now.
it. I created my own guy. I play for the Orioles right now. I don't know if I should be proud of that, but
Oh.
Yo, this guy gets a fantasy baseball team and chooses the worst one, bro. Like, come on.
I don't know. Mine was the Tigers. I just didn't get picked.
Oh, there you go. No, but I mean look, it's kind of in a sense what we're trying to emulate in a certain sense. I'm never going to be Coach Weiskopf, right? I don't intend to be, but if we can in some way, shape, or form, just give it a little morsel, right? A little nugget. Josue, if you can come on and in some way, shape, or form inspire the next generation of realtors to come up and say, hey, man, this guy came up hustling, grinding, and now look where he's at, man. You know, I mean, that's really what this show's about. Really giving them the tools, the conversation piece. Nobody has the ability to spend hours online going through and learning everything about anything. If we can bring 3-4 quality minds together, maybe in an hour and a half, we can give you some stuff that you can take with you
Oh, definitely.
to really be able to use
For
it.
sure.
And on that piece, like, you don't have to give me your direct age unless you feel comfortable with it, but you can give me a range, right?
Yeah.
If either direct age or range, where are you at?
Age?
Yes.
I'm 27.
27 years old, out there making ripples locally. I mean, people know you, right? And because you learned something from a little league
Doesn't not work.
league coach, right, has brought you so far.
Yeah, and actually, like, people don't understand that, you know, in sports, you need a coach to get better. And same thing with life. You need a life coach to get better. Like right now, we have, like in our team, we have a life coach and business coach
Nice.
that helps us out a lot, you know? After
That's
having
a
that.
great point, man.
it's-
People get out of school, they get out of sports, and they go, I'm done learning. And you
Yeah,
go,
I mean,
that's a cute story.
Somebody
See how
should
that
be
works out for
coaching.
you.
Yeah, everybody needs a coach. So like after the little league thing, the second season we were like, I think we finished in second or third because I had a baseball injury and then kind of made things go down. However, we ended up with an Eastern sponsorship, and then that's when we moved to California right after that. And then we kind of had to restart all over again. And then we did the music thing and same thing. Like we're in a local band that no one cared about. And then eventually we ended up being on MTV, VH1, on the radio.
What? Tell us about that, man. Why are we talking about real
He's
estate?
just going to nonchalantly skip over
he's
that
all, I
line.
don't know if you had heard.
Hey,
have you
so-
guys ever heard of Menudo?
He's like, hey, so Woodstock 99, we were asked to be
He
there
was all.
and perform, but it's not a big deal.
I was like child prodigy. Well, you know, I was 12, whatever.
have you ever heard of
I think I did the
Metallica?
math
My
right
name's
on that.
Lars.
Nah, so what did y'all play? Tell me about it, man. Like, let's talk about that a little bit. This is our show, your show. Like, what do we got?
We played a lot locally, and then we ended up playing at the AT&T Center a few times. We played in Dallas at a baseball.
What was
stadium.
your what was the group name, band name?
So
was it you solo?
No, so I was on drums. My brother was on bass. Then my best friend Reed was a vocalist. The band was called Another Song for a Girl, and we did like a lot of shows in San Antonio and surrounding.
Do you guys
cities.
still have stuff out there? People wanted to look you up.
I'm not sure about that, to be honest.
Okay.
I'd have to look it up.
What was
However,
the sound? What was the
it was like,
vibe?
it was like pop rock.
Heck yeah,
Nice.
cool.
Pop rock, you know. So we did that, and then we stopped, and that's kind of when everybody's life kind of commenced after that.
Oh, you mean life goes on outside of art?
Yeah. Well, the big you learn a lot of failures and a lot of rejections. Like when you do.
Sorry.
Whenever you do something brand.
Yeah, I'll come back to that.
Whenever you start something new, you're always gonna have like something that or someone that doesn't want to see you win or
Everyone.
and that always happens, right? However, like recently I found out, no stands for
Try again.
Next
Keep coming.
opportunity.
Next
Next
opportunity.
opportunity.
Move on
and
forward.
then fail stands for first attempt I learned. So
Yes.
once I kind of like grasped onto those like little nuggets, I just kept moving. So when I started doing real estate, it was the same thing, right? So it was like deja vu when I did music, when I was doing fashion. It was the same grind, just a different career path.
Go ahead, please.
On the real estate side of things, so viewers know, and I'll talk specifically to this market, and I'm not going to get into market details or actual real estate side of things, but it's a brutal market to come up in.
Oh, huge.
It is so hard
Because
to come
it's
up
so
as a realtor.
good.
And, well, let's look at it. Most people, myself included, right, when I wanted to get out of my previous job in law enforcement and I wanted to integrate into something else, I wanted to make money. And so I thought what everybody else did, I'll become a licensed realtor, fill out a couple of contracts, and make millions. Like, it's no brainer, right? I didn't go that route. I took the lender route, and whatever. It's kind of the same grind, but it's not anywhere near the level that the realtors go through, right? In San Antonio alone, you have, I think it's beyond 10,000 licensed realtors, in which less than 3% control 99% of the market.
Yep, that's true.
Which is greater than a traditional business 80-20 rule,
yes,
right? So when you look
absolutely.
at real estate, to Chris's point about it being uber competitive, and the fact that it's one of the toughest markets to break into because it's one of the most competitive sellers markets right now, right? Mm-hmm. Because everybody wants to move here. Mm-hmm. It makes it dynamic, man. It makes it tough. So you're not making it if you're not grinding.
99.5% of all realtors that get started are out within 2 years. They're done.
Oh yeah, I see it. So anything you ever did during high school, right? Because I feel like everybody in high school at some point joined a club or a group or something. But everybody did it, right?
Even if it wasn't an official club, everybody in high school was part of some
yeah,
group.
They all did something. And the one thing you learn in team sports or like student council or whatever, you need a group of people to make it work, right? So with real estate, people think...
you mean what do they call that?
A team?
A team and a network? Maybe?
Yeah.
I don't know. Hey, sorry.
Always bringing it back. You mean
I've got
network?
to. Hey, consummate networker here,
So what I learned when I started doing real estate was like, you know what? Like I have to do what I'm doing for my business now, what I was doing with sports. And I did student council as well.
Yeah.
So like, you need a team of people to work. You can't do this by yourself. There is no self-made in real estate. Maybe in some business out there is self-made. There is no self-made in real estate. When I joined, I left T-Mobile. I was there full time. I left my comfortable paying job. Right, I was making a solid income there. Mm-hmm. I left and I went so broke doing real estate. However, I trusted the process.
Right.
There was teachers, coaches, and everything. They're saying, "Josue, do this, this, and this," and that's what I did. And I remember. I'll never forget. I was telling my fiance this like two nights ago. She didn't know this, but I told her. I was so broke, I could not afford to leave the office. Like I would
lived at the office.
I literally and even till now, because I choose to.
You lived at the office.
Yeah.
So no, I'm not. I'm saying that. I'm reiterating that because look at where you're at now. Because
Definitely.
you paid those sacrifices ahead. Sacrifices, quite frankly, that most people. Hey, there I go with that. Quite frankly, that most people aren't willing to. That most people.
Sorry.
Most people aren't willing to make. Right.
Yeah.
So like. I am 100% not only enthralled by it, but impressed by that because especially I don't want to diminish or take away in any way in terms of your age, but for somebody of that youth to be able to understand that and see the larger picture and say, hey, man, this is the sacrifice I'm willing to put in right now for the long-term gains, that takes a lot of foresight that most of us don't have, right? Let alone young people out there willing to grind. And here's the reality, too. What sucks is most of the young people out there listening, right, they're saddled with student debt, right? They don't have an option in terms of genuinely probably owning a home unless they get hooked up with a
great
legit lender. No, I mean, for real. Unless they get hooked up with somebody who, in PJ's word, can work magic, right? Like, it's a different economy, man. Yeah. We're not talking about the same thing we were talking about 30 years. So, like, the idea of, hey, I hustle and I get out there and I worked a full-time job and put myself through college and bought a house. Cool, man. Houses aren't $12,000 anymore. I don't know what to tell you. You know what I mean? Like, so let's move on with that philosophy and get to the grinding part, the hustling part, which clearly you've obviously got.
Yeah. On the real estate side of things, though, because you're out here making waves, do you just handle residential? Do you do commercial as well? Do you like land? What is your facet of your market?
So my niche is first-time buyers and investors.
Love it. Okay.
I always said it. I would love to be a teacher. I just don't have that kind of patience. However, I love teaching. So any first-time buyer, you tell me, hey, I want a house, I will help you get a house. As long as you want to get a house, you will get a house.
So let me ask you, we got a first-time buyer probably listening right this second, right? How do they get a hold of you?
They can call my cell phone.
Okay.
210-843-3072.
Say it one more time.
210-843-3072.
This is the part we get a little talk radio-ish.
Yeah. And after the break, we'll find out about.
Yeah.
Hey, but for real, not even. And I don't want to put you out there. Cut me off if I'm wrong. But I would say this too. Part of this show is to connect networkers and hustlers. Mm-hmm. It's about huddling together. Mm-hmm. I'm going to offer you out. I know you do a lot of life coaching and stuff. Can people contact you outside of like real estate needs? Can they contact
honestly.
you just to see what's up?
No, for sure.
Hear your story.
Yeah.
Maybe music, maybe anything else outside of that?
One of my good friends, I'm not gonna say.
Hey, a little bit of fashion. I might call you after this. See what's up. I need a different shirt. No, I'm just kidding.
At least yours has a collar.
Yeah.
Looks like you just left the shop, but at least yours has a collar.
I keep one in the shop. I keep one here, so we're good.
Well,
Keep one for you now.
one of my good friends, he's actually going on tour tomorrow. He got signed to a major label. He got signed to Warner Brothers.
Can you
Nice.
tell us his name or?
No, probably not.
Well, his rap name is, I guess, kind of inappropriate. I can say it though.
Yo.
Say it.
His rap name is Lil Booty Call.
Whoa, whoa,
Booty call.
whoa,
Yo,
hold on,
yeah,
hold on.
yeah.
This is-
Somebody
we play this
scratch
on
that. Hey,
Sundays,
guys, this is
God.
a family show.
Little
I'm
Booty
sorry about that,
Yeah.
guys. Lil
That's
Booty
what's up,
Call.
though.
He's from San Antonio, and
What?
I
For
think
real?
I saw him on Twitter. He had a song called Sailor Moon. He has a song called Sailor Moon, and I was like, this song is like super catchy.
Yeah.
And
Like the not that I've ever seen it, but like the anime.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Hey!
And I don't know
Cheers for
how.
that.
See what I did there? I'm learning from PA.
I think we met at a concert, and I was like, man, this kid's super cool. Like, he's so different. And we met at gyms one night. Oh, yeah, I think I gave him some free merchandise. Yeah,
That's
so
a good way to meet people.
we met at, yeah, we met at gyms, and we talked, and he was like, you know what, like, I hate my job. I work overnight at Lowe's, and I was like, well, let me help you out. So one night he calls me like super late. Like, he actually took me on the offer. He actually called me super late.
So he actually followed through. He actually took up an offer for help. Guys,
for
listen
sure.
out there. So he swallowed some pride.
Yeah, he didn't have a cell phone. He had an iPod Touch, so he would call through FaceTime or iCloud messaging or
Whatever. Yeah,
whatever.
Whatever. Some sort of, yeah.
So it was FaceTime. He called me through FaceTime, and I answered, and he's like, "I'm stuck. I'm not really making money." And I was like, "What do you mean? Like, you're pretty popular on SoundCloud." He had like I think almost 1 million plays on one song. On TikTok,
Wow.
actually. Yeah, and I was like, "How are you not making money?" So I told him, like, "Look, I have a website that I have right now. We can do pre-orders on your shirt. You don't have to come up any money. We'll do pre-orders. We'll see where your fans are at, and they'll buy merchandise, and they'll pay for it in advance. We'll print it with the money they paid, right? And I'll get you a check." So what ended up happening was I made the whole website custom for his stuff.
Preach.
In like 2 days, he got like 50 or 60 orders. They make the merchandise. I cut him his check. I give him the check. He cashes out. And he was like, his eyes got super big.
Dude.
Preach.
And I didn't ask for one penny. I was like, look, bro, like, you keep all of it. I want to see you win. And
Yo.
that's probably the only thing, I guess, the biggest thing I
Come
ever
on,
did
man.
for him.
How, how do we get a hold of you again?
210-843.
You've got to have some other. You've got to have some other media out there. So I mean, obviously.
One more time without Chris talking.
Oh, what's up? Instagram is Josue, JOSWAYZEE.
Okay.
And
dig.
then for Instagram real estate, it's Real Estate Pro TX.
Nice.
So Chris is right. I got excited, and I was going to ask you one more question, but I was talking over your phone number, so please give it to them one more time.
210-843-3072.
The question I was going to ask, and
Yeah.
the thing that I was going to say, is obviously you've got the social hookup, right? You've got the tie down. You helped your homie out. Again, my man is coming through with the transitions. We could not have really planned this any better. So as we move and progress through the show, and you guys see from hustling through the different spots that we go, super excited to have had Josue with us. I want you guys to reach out to him, not only for your real estate needs, but just for obviously your general needs, be it music, social, or the otherwise.
He
Like a life
understands
coach.
one key factor, right? You make money on OTP, other people's money, or OPT, OPM, other people's money. I'll get it right.
Hey,
Look, the
are you down with
alphabet-
OPP?
Yeah, you know
me.
The one thing I can't do is the alphabet, though. Apparently, I'm like trying to figure it out. But no, straight up, like that's investor 101. You said you did a little bit of investing,
Yeah.
right? You make
So-
money off of other people's money.
He ended up getting his start, and I didn't ask for any money. Like, I just want to see him win. That's my thing. I love to see people win.
So you guys check out
Lil Booty Call.
Lil Booty Call as well.
He
Lil
was-
Booty Call. Hey,
He's on tour. His tour starts tomorrow's August
21st.
Yeah.
in Dallas.
Heck yeah.
And it's funny because
where at? I'll go.
he starts in Dallas. I don't know where. He'll be in San Antonio though.
Can you get me details? I'll go to Dallas and here. I want to support
Chris,
Yeah, yeah.
so Chris, we'll talk about that later. Chris actually has a business in Dallas, so he splits time between the two.
music business. Yeah.
I'll let you know.
Remember that thing we were laughing about, the music business being tough? My man knows over here.
So my goddaughter, she turns 15 next month. or
Hey,
15,
shout out.
Yeah, and so she's a fan of his. I don't know that. And I was like, that's cool. And then
Is that cool? I mean, I don't know the song.
I don't know, like 15-year-old little booty call. Like, come on.
I was just like, that's cool, like, because like I just was helping out a friend, and so he's like, yeah, my next publishing
What a
deal.
small world, man. It speaks to literally the networking, right? Like,
Yeah.
so your daughter-in-law, somebody you didn't know, San Antonio, world's smallest town. I mean, honestly, Josue, dude, I'm so happy you popped in on us, man. You're welcome anytime.
Can we have you back?
Can we have you back, man?
Back.
Absolutely. Because we scratched the surface.
Just a little surface. We only got so much time.
Touched it.
I feel like we could keep talking for hours, man.
Yeah.
And
we will.
Exactly, which we will do. One more time, man. Give them that number.
If you guys need anything, 210-843-3072. I'll connect you.
He said anything, guys.
Josue, you also you're with Keller Williams, correct?
Yes.
You got
Keller
a website?
Williams Heritage. I don't have a website.
It's Heritage?
Yeah, it's Keller Williams Heritage.
Instagram was
One more time.
My real estate one is Real Estate Pro TX, and then my other one's Josue, JOSWAYZE.
What is that? What is that one? Is it like personal?
It's more like my all around. I kind of post about everything. My fiance.
Good. The get to know you.
You want to give a shout out to the fiance real quick?
Shout out to Valerie Garcia.
When y'all getting married?
2020. So next year, around like October, November.
We y'all get engaged.
We got engaged in April 28th.
Oh,
nice. Congrats, bro.
Get it, brother. Thank you so much for coming by.
Yeah, thanks for being
Valerie,
here, bro.
you got a great man here. Hold on. Hey, and yo, anytime you want to come back, man, please, you're welcome.
Just tell Magic Man.
Hey, Magic Man's going to make it happen.
Make yourself comfortable out there. We'll holler at you here in a bit.
Thanks for coming through, bro.
Cool, man.
Yeah, thanks.
Of course, man. Always.
Appreciate you, man.
PJ,
I want to talk more music, though. For real.
Yeah, we're going to get on that.
I'll be out here.
You bring Taryn in?
Yeah.
Hey guys, so we're super excited. Obviously, you saw the lineup, the quality that we have here in Josue. One of the things I was excited about, I was like, man, hey, I was like, could you?
Hold on. I'm getting closer. Okay, I'm good. Go. My bad.
That's not funny at all. And now
hilarious.
How much y'all want to bet he's going to back up? This is exactly what's going to happen because it always does. It's neither here nor there.
Hey, excuse me 1 second. Had to back up.
Yo, so with that and with Josue's, leading on to and showing what a prominent position in people's lives that networking, social media, all of that play, we are super excited to invite our next guest who should be coming in anytime, Taryn Toth. So
we're like, any
and
moment
I think,
now.
so if we time this right.
So I was trying to think about, I started laughing earlier. What did he say? Because I had something hilarious.
Which one?
I don't know. I started laughing. I was like, I'll come back to it.
Dude, he was saying a
You
lot of
said
things.
something. You said something.
Well, so the thing is, he had so many different.
You said something in particular, and I started losing it, and I was like, I'll come back.
Oh,
to
the music industry being difficult, and that's why I brought it back. That's why I was laughing about, because you were like, I was like, yeah, we know a little bit about the music industry
Wasn't
being
even
difficult,
that,
bro.
Man. I have such terrible memory.
Well, hey.
I read an article that if you can't remember stuff, it's a sign of being a genius.
So I read that same article. I always, just so you guys know, I'm inclined to read any article that has a habit I do is followed by you might be a genius. So literally the reason that I'm messy, the reason I can't remember things, the reason I'm short with people, all of those supposedly are attributed to that. I'm going to run with that and keep it there.
Here's the difference between Chris and I. Chris is truly a genius, and that's why he runs with it. Me, I'm just trying not to set myself on fire every day.
Here's the difference.
With a microwave.
I literally just stick to it. I just make people believe it. I'm committed to the bit. Hold on. Let me get Google for you real quick.
Yo, I think we need to take our microphones out there because the
party's happening.
Is going on out there.
They literally
like, right
don't
now.
want to leave out there to come in here, man. So, guys, hey, I hope you guys are seeing. We're excited. This is just the tip of the iceberg. We've got, obviously, some other guests out there. They're in the middle of a mixer, so that's kind of the vibe that we brought.
To do the tip of the iceberg. I didn't do it so well. I did the Illuminati sign for my iceberg.
My guy out here is showing the iceberg, and instead he's doing the Titanic. And I'm like, it's the exact opposite of what we are trying to portray, Chris. Come on.
I will never let go, Jack.
I bet you won't. Hey, so why don't we review the recap from last week?
Last week, yeah. So what was interesting about last week is we gave you guys bad information, quite frankly.
No,
straight
That's
up,
not true. That was one small segment.
What was funny,
that was about 2 minutes of the podcast. The rest was good information.
That was the first thing that we talked about. We told you guys about the market.
So let's stop in and up my hey, you've been working out?
I've been, lifting beers.
One way or the other. Hey, so we also came to a realization
about
you're going to get a podcast every Thursday at 10 a.m.
10 a.m., guys.
To make sure that we are in line with what's most accurate.
Exactly.
Right? So that we don't necessarily have a
PJ
recap
just kicked
of
the door in
what
like
happened.
he was a SWAT member.
And so we got PJ here, producer PJ.
What up,
Yeah.
PJ?
Right.
Producer PJ.
I like the way producer PJ just owned that. Like, he's like, yo, I literally thought we just got swatted, bro.
Literally, PJ kicks our door in.
I wish we had a reverse-facing camera.
Ready?
I'm like, PJ, the thing about us is if you stay ready, you don't have to get ready.
Welcome.
Hey,
Come make
Taryn,
yourself
come
at home.
on
Are
in.
you guys ready?
We're ready. I'm
always
sorry.
ready.
Just come on across.
How are you?
Good. How are
Thank
you?
you so much for being here.
Yeah,
Oh, I
thanks
just
for
hit my
having
mic.
me.
That probably sounds terrible. Thank you so much for being
Thank you.
here.
Have a seat. Make yourself comfortable.
All right.
Justin, how you feel?
All
Got a
right.
little coaster. Put it wherever you
Oh,
want.
cool.
Let me put my mouthpiece back because I swung it around.
So, as we were talking about with Josue, guys, so we literally couldn't have planned it any better. Oh, and sorry about cutting the recap short. We've got much more important things to do now.
Absolutely.
So, we could not have planned the transition any better. Josue was literally finishing up his entire segment talking about the importance of social media and what digital marketing has played in really in his growth coming from LA. So I was very happy to be able to turn around and then tee up Taryn, who, quite frankly, is. Am I overstating it if I say Miss Digital Media here in town? Is that a little bit much, or you tell me?
So I facilitate people.
Mic up on you a little bit.
Yeah,
there you
sure.
go.
So,
Yeah, get up on it like you love it.
You got to pretend
Alright.
be
like,
right.
Like I'm about to sing in
intimate
it?
with
Exactly.
Yes.
Singing
Alright.
it. Singing it. It's
Which
all about
this is an
projection.
all-inclusive show, so if you want to break down some tunes, we're not going to
we'll
stop
save
you.
that. So I am myself am not a digital media maven by any means.
I like the term maven, by the way.
Yeah.
Hey, busting
DMM.
out yes, all right.
I am not. What's interesting is that I have been fortunate enough. I'm an organizer, and
we can all
I'm
use those.
yeah. I'm very much. What's the word that was recently used?
Awesome,
I did a person.
amazing, intelligent,
All of those
Chris
things.
with the
glamorous.
thesaurus.
Like,
All
what are you,
All
what
of
are
those
you
things,
looking at?
of course.
Adjective.
No, I am a turbulent campaigner. That is my
I like
personality
that.
type.
What does that mean?
It means that I.
No. I mean, I can come to my own
He's like, hey, I like
conclusions.
that. I
I'm just
have no
saying,
clue what it
you
means.
explain that.
Yeah, no, I am I'm the person to get behind things that I find passion in and get them done, get them started, get them in a direction. I'm a strategizer. And so essentially what happened with Together Digital, which was previously called Women in Digital.
Okay.
Can I back up?
Yeah,
Explain
let's
how we
rewind
got
a little
there.
bit.
What
Yeah.
is that? And
So-
how did you get there?
Yeah, so it's really interesting.
We're interested.
I basically saw online, so just being on Facebook, I was at a point in my career where I've been in HR for 14 years at this point now.
So you have no stories.
Yeah,
Probably-
no.
So
I've worked with hundreds of clients. I
your
know
life
nothing.
is void of any kind
It's
of
all
stories.
locked up in
Okay,
here.
no,
I'm not going to share anybody's
okay.
dirty secrets. But at that time, it'd been about, I guess, 12 and a half years that I'd been in HR, and I felt like I wasn't really, I wasn't loving my career anymore.
Yeah.
And I watched a Facebook post from a woman that I had known since high school who had started Women in Digital. It was then called Women in Digital.
So again, somebody that you had known from
High
a
school.
network you trusted one way or another.
Correct,
Right, from
yeah.
back in the day. Somebody that meant a personal impact on you.
Yes.
That was enough of a personal. So our previous guest had enough of a personal impact on, or rather, his mother had enough of a personal impact on a social
And a coach.
member. Yeah, they moved across the country for it.
Oh,
Right,
cool,
so it's
cool.
like
Oh,
this
yeah.
is how it's the old saying about it's not what you know, it's who you know. I mean, guys,
Oh, yes.
come on, man, like that's the fact. Whether you like it or not, let's be candid with each other here,
It's
right?
true because, I knew this woman from high school. We were neighbors. We hung out together and, did like 16-year-old girl stuff together.
Right.
And
Like
I hadn't
what?
seen her in 20 years. But we're connected on Facebook.
Right.
And she posts this video of herself speaking at the Women in Digital very first ever
That's
national
awesome.
conference. And the whole purpose of Women in Digital is women coming alongside other women within the digital space to, I'm going to say empower, really wake up the power within each other. And she was talking just so much about how women coming alongside each other can make such a difference and how that's her passion. And what happened to me in that moment is I'm watching this woman who was a year younger than me in high school and just a normal person like me doing something that was very impactful. I mean, her speech was so impactful. And I'm like, she's changing the world. And what am I doing? You know, I used to be a world changer. I used to be a woman who would shake it up.
Yeah.
And I'm just kind of I'm not thrilled in my job right now. I'm not thrilled in my life right now.
You just
What
kind
am
of
I
fell
doing?
into the status quo. Whatever the career develops into, we need to pay the bills.
I'm eating
Yes.
every night. So
Right.
I'm happy.
Hey, exactly.
Right.
Hey, the roof's over my head. I got bills paid. Like, is
Correct.
it really that bad? Like, things are going all right.
But I never can settle for that.
Sure.
And so a discontented
Hey,
area.
Obviously.
Yeah. Yeah.
Hence the reason we are here now.
Yes. As soon as I start really feeling that discontent.
Chris is going to always come through with the I'm a hustler, baby, in the background, just so y'all know. I don't know if y'all caught that. But
Nice.
I do it like a sharp, but kind of flat at the same time. It's beautiful.
That's perfect. That sounds perfect.
So you're never content. You always want to go on. You always
Right.
want to be what did you call it? A turbulent campaigner. Okay.
That's not what I want to be. It's what I just am.
It's what you are. But
Yeah.
why wouldn't you strive to be that? I mean, also in today's, PJ and I use the term a lot, whether it's in work or technology or politics or whatever, right? We talk about the term sheeple, right? Like people just fall in line and say whatever. Like, why would you not want to be a turbulent campaigner?
Well, I think that, it's easy to be a sheeple.
It's way easier. Ignorance
It
is
is.
bliss. What are you talking about? It's
Yeah.
the easiest. They literally got a saying for that.
But what
There
are we
are
talking
times-
about?
Precisely. See what I mean?
Exactly.
Hey, so the show's over, guys. Thank you.
But there are times when I'm like, Taryn, just shut up and go with the flow, and I literally can't. But sometimes we get into that mode and we don't even know we're in it. And so for me, watching her was one of those, am I a sheeple moments?
You kind of had an epiphany. You kind of came out and said, wow, this is something that's touching me. This is something that I'm like, I'm witnessing something in front of me where there's a true impact. I'm feeling that impact.
Correct.
Why am I not able to then turn around and deliver this impact on what I'm doing on the day-to-day?
Well, it was more of, I hadn't even gotten to that point yet. It was more of, holy cow.
I'm just getting impacted.
I opened my eyes. I was at the eye-opening point when I saw that.
So you can probably attest to this better than anybody, but I mean, is that not the hardest point to come to realization with yourself in the sense of like, yo, this is where I'm at now. Okay, I see it. Okay, cool, I get it. So how do I change it? What's
It
next?
is in the beginning.
Okay.
So when these are new things that happen for you, that moment's really difficult. But this is my whole life at this point. So I have spent 10 years developing myself
Well,
even
that's what
at
I mean.
that point.
Well, so at this point, I mean, this is what you do. So now,
Correct.
like, hey, we've got you here. You're spreading the good. Well, you're preaching the gospel about being that
But
turbulent
even at
campaigner.
that point, I already had years of, working on
Right.
myself, but you can still get sucked into that everyday grind.
We all do. We all
Yeah.
do.
It's fight or flight. You're born with either one or the other. You can
Yes.
learn how to do the opposite, right? But most people are born with flight. Some are born with fight, and you were born with fight.
It's true. When the stuff hits the fan on the person you want by your side, because
yeah.
But when
Yeah.
it's slow, I tend to be like, what are we doing?
We both wanted to say the S word. When
Yeah,
you
we're like,
I know.
So the problem with, and I think we all kind of have that fighter mentality at this table. Let's be candid. Sometimes it brings conflict, right? That is
it usually
the
does.
nature.
That's
I
what
was just
fighting
going to
is.
say that is the nature of fighting, right? So when you have that personality, you can sometimes, myself included, I'll be the first to step back and say you can be overpowering, right? I shouldn't say you. Look, I'm trying to put it off on you all. Yeah. I can be overpowering, right?
Chris can
We
be overpowering.
Very much so, right? And it's one of those things where it's like, look at me overpowering this guy right now. Stop talking. I'm trying to prove a point.
I'm
Okay?
laughing.
No, I've literally had a CFO of a gigantic organization that I was
Which one?
managing.
Tell us.
One
No, I'm just
area
kidding.
of.
Leave the names
So-
out of it. Leave the names out of it. PJ's like, you're in timeout.
I'm just ignoring him and going on.
Yes, thank you.
She
Hey,
said
so you met my wife. Okay, great.
she said to me, like, at one point, you are too much.
No.
And I'm like, I'm too much for you? Like, holy cow.
You're like, so that's a compliment, right?
Well, at that time, I was kind of offended. I wasn't as far in my personal growth as I am
Sure.
now. I had a lot more realization to go through and experience. But yeah, it creates conflict. But the first person that it creates conflict in is myself. And so for me
The most
now,
important.
yeah, because I'm the only one who has control over what I choose to do next. And so
That's really profound. I mean, think about that though. We're all. I know it's a simple statement, right? Like at face value.
Yep.
Hey, we're all in control of our lives. Woo.
right.
Yo, but we actually are. Like what you decide to do next is 100% wholeheartedly on you. I had a leadership figure once told me, hey, it's all Legos on the table, man. Like if you think about it, right? Like you've got all the Legos you need. You just got to build something. You just got to do something with it. If you decide to look at the Legos and go, it's too much for me, that's your perspective.
Well, so you just mentioned something that's really real, though, capacity.
Yeah.
So everybody has a different capacity, and at different times of my life, I've had different levels of capacity to put those Legos together, and so there have been times in my life. So at this time in my life, I think I was in like a breathing period and just like not challenging every single thing for a minute. But that can't be very long for me because my campaign ends and I have a breather and then I need to go again.
It's time to go.
Yeah, it's time to go.
You ever seen the movie Troy?
I have.
There's a quote that I always hold on to, right? I love these things. I've
only heard this once or twice.
No, that's not the Take It, It's Yours.
No, okay.
It's not that one, right? But you remind me of it, aligning with it or whatever, and I try to hold on to it in difficult times. And the Achilles, Brad Pitt is talking to this young boy, and he's about to fight this huge guy in the morning, right? We've always seen the movie, that big dude that he gets him, right? So before he goes, that's the biggest man I've ever seen. I wouldn't want to fight him. That's what this little boy tells Achilles. And Achilles looks down to him and he goes, and that's why nobody will remember your name. And that's what I think of, right? You're never going to get your name remembered if you don't go against everything that you're afraid of or you're uncertain of or you want to flee from. You have to fight. You have to stand up and you have to fight these things that are bigger than you. You got to tackle these adversities.
But you can't tackle those adversities if that conflict doesn't first begin within yourself. Like you said, if you don't know what you're fighting for, you have no idea who you're fighting against.
It's true. And what you asked a question, and it was an interesting question, is that the most difficult point? It depends on who you are.
Yeah, that's
so
a great point,
for me, if I do nothing after that point, if I have that epiphany and do nothing, I will be the most miserable person you've ever met, and that's the most difficult point.
Love it.
And
100%.
And if I do something about it, then there are probably some pretty serious challenges ahead.
Love that too.
So that's
just probably
it's just a fulcrum. Those eye-opening points.
Isn't that life though, right? Isn't life a fulcrum really when you think about it? And we're all just sitting here trying to balance it out, right?
Yep.
And to Chris's point, our previous guest was talking about education in terms of like monetary sense, and it's like, I didn't get dollars, but I got learning, I got talent, I got trades, and I was like, that's dollars. It equated to dollars.
Exactly.
Like, he was bright enough to see that.
I made that point.
But to your no, not you.
Chris. You're talking third person again, bro.
My bad. No, I said our previous guest. But
no, you said into Chris's point.
Oh, my bad. I was
okay.
honoring you subconsciously. But
keep up, Chris.
Yeah, see how he does?
Hey, I do the best I can. Just throwing in singers every so often, sitting here looking pretty. Hey, how y'all doing? That's what I do.
No, but
she's shaking her head like I am so disapproving of you.
Like, man, can we just let's just carry on with this podcast. Right?
We're just gonna ignore you and keep going.
No, but I did think it was I thought it was awesome that he was able to say that at a young age. He was able to say, hey, look, I'm not necessarily getting paid for this, but I'm learning skills, I'm learning dollars. To your point, if you're looking at a fulcrum and a balance, right? Like it still goes on the weight end. That's still something you're gaining that nobody can take away from you. What you do with it later on, obviously, is up to you, but it still goes in there.
Well, it's then followed by a series of choices. And so I've had this eye-opening experience, and it got me thinking. It got my brain thinking. And my first thought, I'm very competitive. So my first thought is, we came from the same stuff. Why is she a world changer and I'm discontented in my job? That was my very first thought. There's nothing better about her than about me. So why is she doing this and I'm sitting here like discontented? That was my first thought. So my first thought is to make everything possible for myself. That is one of my greatest, strongest character traits. Anything is possible in my mind, and not in a naive way. I'm very realistic about who I am and what my strengths are. There are things I won't take on or I would pass on to somebody else because they're just not things I do well. And the time it would take for me to do them at the level that I would want to do them at, it's just not worth it. Somebody else is better suited to that. But anything that I choose to do, there's a strategy behind it because I can be successful at it. And so, I listened to her and I just realized, okay, it was me confirming to myself, I I could pretty much do whatever I wanted. What do I want to do? And I just started going down this journey. But some of the things that she said were really important to me as well. So she started talking about the importance of women supporting each other, the importance of women sharing what they've learned. And so many people think that when women come together, it's like women and not men. This has nothing to do with men. This isn't women and not men.
What is Al Bundy has the no ma'am club, right? This is the no man club. Come on now. How are you guys not going to let us in?
Actually, the opposite, though.
Right. Well, it's really just intentionality.
Yeah, it was total walking.
It's the opposite.
We'll be here all night, ladies and gentlemen.
That's great.
Sorry.
So it's really just the intentionality of women intentionally coming together, intentionally doing some of these things that men have done for a really long time, but we tend to get in competition with each other. We tend to, I personally felt like kind of frenemy toward this woman that I respected.
Definitely.
Because I was like, I'm not that cool. I'm not doing that much. And my initial reaction was, oh, like her, and that's not who I want to be. And so I saw those conflicting feelings, and I knew what she was saying was the right thing to do, and that how women
so
can
you
support
saw
each
all
other.
through that and still got through your personal feelings about it and said, hey, look, there's a clear right and wrong about this, right?
Yes. So that was a big thing. So there was another woman who I thought I wanted to connect her with, because this woman writes articles about amazing women. But she's also someone that is like super snazzy in the San Antonio community. She's got like magazines and she writes magazines. Like she's amazing.
Right.
And so
she's got a cool haircut. I think it is you're talking about. I know you're talking about.
But I knew her personally, and so I had to, it like sat around. Yeah, she had the cool.
She does. Yeah.
I basically like sat around thinking about it, and I finally just said, am I going to talk about supporting women, or am I going to actually support women?
Right. Can I preface this, because I don't want to come off wrong. When I said the cool haircut, I was trying to be like, hey, I know who you're talking about, not like, hey, it's nonchalant. Yeah.
No. Yes.
Literally, I was being specific. So my apologies if it came across any other way.
No, you're good.
So something that I wanted to say also I thought you brought up a lot of powerful points, right? But the first of which I think is trust in somebody to delegate things that don't fit on your plate. You know what you're good at, right? At the end of the day, there's things we need to get off our plate and trust somebody to delegate. The other thing that I thought was really powerful is your ability to say no, right? At a certain point, I am so guilty of this. People are like, can you do A, B, and C? And I'm like, I'll fit it in.
Right.
And you know what? I give 30% to each of those people. Instead of telling two of them no, I'm giving 100% to one and filling in the void later on, right?
Yes. I even do this in sales.
In everything.
Yeah.
It's people like us, I think, unfortunately, we're competitive. We want to be able to do it all. And really, we've got to step back and say we don't. The other thing that I would say that's really compelling about what you're talking about, and I know for a fact, and from personal experience, it's not just women per se in the group, right, of having that frenemy. It's people. Like, we're a weird species, man. Like, we want to say we're going to build each other up and this and that. But the second my cousin gets a better whatever, or the second my best friend wins a big, you won the lottery, or you got to close the deal, like, whatever, dude, you don't even work that hard anyways, bro. Right. It's and everybody falls into that, and it's like, what am I actually even doing?
Well, this goes to what Chris said a minute ago. When I experience those things, when I experience something that is not in alignment with who I am, I have a choice, and those are the things I run toward. Like you said, you either go toward it, like the fear, you're afraid and you run away, or you're the person who goes toward it. I have learned that those things that come up, those are the things that I must run toward to deal with, because those are the things that are getting in the way of my success.
How did you learn that?
Failure.
How do we learn everything?
Yeah.
God damn it.
Holding on, doing it my way, doing everything wrong.
So you're telling me there's no shortcut?
Yeah, no, there is no easier, softer way. It is,
sorry, guys, we didn't bring y'all anything today, I guess. You got to work hard and get out there and hustle. I don't even know what to tell you.
And listen to us every week.
Yes.
No, I'm just kidding.
But it's a smart hustle. So that word hustle has so many connotations. People throw it around like hustle, be fast, do this, do that, whatever. And it's about working smarter.
Not harder.
And harder.
And harder. That's a better take on it. All right. Hey, we learned something
and harder.
week.
Yeah.
So okay, so I liked what you were touching on there in terms of like, hey, you came to realize these are the ones I have to attack first, right? This is what's getting in my way. This is what's stopping me. What other, if you can at a high level speak to processes that you've come to realize that that have kind of been an epiphany in your life that have helped your business, your life, your flow come to a better fruition?
So I think that being honest with myself is the most important thing, because then I can see what I actually need to do. And that's a very difficult thing to do, being honest with yourself. But if I find myself making excuses or anything like that, those are things that I have to stop myself immediately.
Do you mind taking a second and explaining your thought process or how you do that? Because that's one of the most difficult things that anybody could possibly do, is to step back and say, I was wrong, or I don't know what I'm talking about, or I need help.
I'm very good at saying all those things. I need help. I'm getting better at. But basically, I believe in being very responsible for my actions, and good and bad. Because if I want all the accolade, I have to be able to accept anything else that I've done as well.
Right.
That's how I feel. And so when I start blaming people, when I start looking elsewhere, when I start, doing whatever, I have a part in everything, whether it was agreeing to do something I shouldn't have done, all these kinds of, there's always a part that I play in every single choice that I make.
Right.
Therefore, I have responsibility for everything.
Right.
And it doesn't mean I have to take it like, I have responsibility for everything.
Right.
It may be big, it may be small, but there's a part of mine. And so what I do when I find myself pushing outward towards others, or feeling negatively about people, or, just all those kinds of things that come up, not like emotionally happy, because I live in a pretty good state of peace regularly, no matter what's going on. So when something else comes up, I kind of look at it and say, okay, what's my part in this? And I'm real with myself. And from that point, I have a choice to make. And what I learned very early on is that people respect the heck out of you if you can say, I don't know the answer to that. Let me look that up. I said this and I wasn't 100% right. Yes. Or I over-exaggerated this. When you stop a conversation and said, I kind of over-exaggerated that. It's really probably more like 50%, not 100.
I was super excited.
The power of owning it, especially if it's your mistake, is insurmountable to anything else. And, just to recap, to make sure I understand, if Chris and PJ and I all go do something stupid that's going to get us in trouble.
You've got me in the wrong analogy, bro. I never do that.
Can I control Chris? Absolutely not. Can I control PJ? No. I can influence, but I can't control. I can control my actions. And if my actions led me to something, I need to own up to them. I need to deal with the consequence, or deal with the advantages to them, whatever it may be. Because
I'll be the first person to be like, look how awesome I did. I sold this huge deal. I did this. I did that.
Living it.
Yeah. But, come on. We're hustlers out here huddling. What else can we do?
Right. But it's really easy to blame other people. And so those are, I think, one of the most priceless gifts that I was given was this ability to stop when I'm the one pushing back and I see the negative feelings come up.
So real quick, so I want to dive in here. I'm probably going to get a little politically incorrect here, but I think it's important.
Hold on, let me listen.
Yeah, everybody tee up.
Let me get a drink of water first.
Listen, please take your time. So I'm gonna preface this because I think everything you said, the way that I was brought up, is 100% in line with that. If you don't know the answer, don't lie. You apologize. You move on. You follow through. You deliver on what you say, so on and so forth. Let's be very candid. There are MBA programs out there right now teaching people, and in an executive position, you never apologize. The highest ranking official in our land never apologizes. So I get what you're saying from a personal standpoint. I understand. I was brought up that way. But when the world is shifting, the dynamic is shifting to say, don't apologize, shift the blame. Tell somebody that it was a different perception. They misunderstood it wrong. Tell them that the words you read verbatim weren't actually what they saw. Don't believe their own ears and eyes. Believe what you're telling them. How does that square up in today's professional society with you? What have you seen on that? I know that's a tough subject, but it's the reality, right?
Here's a grenade. Good luck.
No, this is awesome.
Nothing on your lap.
So the very first thing that I want to say before I answer that question is that this is a very personal choice.
Good. That's Yeah, it would have to be, right? Like, you got to decide who you are.
Yeah, and so for me, I lived a life where I lived in a lot of like my own self-will and doing what I wanted no matter what and like pushing my way through. That's how I started in sales. And I was successful that way. I mean, I had every single thing in the world already when I was like years ago, before I ever really started this self-reflection journey. So I know you can have everything doing it that way, but I struggled to get out of bed in the morning. I struggled to do the things that normal people do, and I was the most successful. I had everything I'd ever wanted.
Yeah,
and so to me, it's like, who do I want to be? You know? And then once I've made that choice, have you heard the phrase, be the change you want to see?
Yeah, absolutely.
I live by that because I don't care what whoever else is doing. I don't care what they're teaching me. I know what is right and wrong for me.
And you feel confident because you fought that conflict.
Yes and no. I mean, sometimes I don't feel confident. Sometimes it's scary, but
that's real. That's real talk.
I hold to what I know deep within myself is true for me and what I need to do to be who I need to be able to sleep at the end of the day and not feel like a piece of crap. I could have sold a $500,000 deal, but I walked away from it because it was the right thing to do. Who can always say that? I can today because I made those choices and I sold a $500,000 deal the next week. On to another, I'm fine. And somebody else would say, well, you could have had $1 million. Yeah, but I also probably wouldn't sleep very well. I wouldn't like myself like I do. And I couldn't say the things I say to my kids, to you, and believe it.
It's very personal to me, yeah.
Yeah, and I still stand by I still believe that's a short-term play. You could have had $1 million, but it's going to cost you $1 million a couple of years down the road, right?
Because what we do speaks to who we are. You know, we can say words all day long.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. So on that note, wrap it up.
What is it? Marlow's hierarchy of self needs or needs or something? Maslow's. That's it, right there.
Marlow's that's Marley. I was going to say Marley's that sweet dog with Owen Wilson.
Rocco's Modern Life of,
it is back on Netflix.
You're very self-actualized. You're top tier on that. Man.
Yes and no. I mean, I screw this up every day.
But that's why you're there, right? Right.
Case in point.
I literally have a phenomenal business coach around me every single day, and sometimes when he gives me zingers or tips or great things to do, I'm like, you don't know me. You don't know what I'm doing.
But that's a normal response. That's when you know that you need to think.
Exactly.
It's like beautiful.
But understanding that you need to think is something that sets you apart, that puts you in that self-actualized 100%. Thing, because people struggle with that on a daily basis and never even stop to think, maybe it's me, not them.
Well, that's because I will be the best, period. Like the best me that I can possibly be. I used to be like, I will be the best ever.
You will be the best.
Here we go.
Cheers to that.
Drink to that?
Yes.
I'm with you guys on this one. Mm-hmm. If you want to truly be the very best that you can be, and I am that person who believes anything is possible.
Right.
So if I believe anything is possible, then my very best could be like I could do anything. That could be anything. So if I want that, I'm going to do whatever it takes to get it. And that means difficulty. That means the things I don't want to do, you know? And so
yeah. If there's a common theme running through this evening's episode with both of our guests, right? It's taking on challenges to be a better person. It's realizing that getting to that next level is not going to be easy. There is, unfortunately, no shortcut, right? We're not going to provide you with the quick way out. There's not going to be somebody that comes along and says, hey, you're so great, so here's your gift, your next job. What's going to get you there is hustling every step of the way, smart hustling, right? Yep. Building quality relationships and what?
And hard hustling.
And harder, but smart, right?
Yeah.
The right time, the right place. You also mentioned something about, and actually our previous guest mentioned it as well, which is funny, Josue, right? About learning, education, self-actualization, right? Self-enrichment. And we truly believe that education leads to empowerment, right? And if you can gain through whatever that education is, if it's a book, if it's traditional classroom-based, if it's getting on a podcast, no pun intended, Hustlers Huddle, what's up? Or it's going wherever you go to gather your knowledge. The reality is we've all got the world in our fingertips now, right? The idea that we're not out here capitalizing on that is our own shortcoming, so to speak, right? Mm-hmm. So it's a matter of taking that education, allowing yourself the empowerment, and then I'm not going to speak to it because I'm not there yet. I'm not good enough, but Taryn can speak to it. Then giving yourself that self-realization that even though I have these tools, I'm not always right. You know, and I got to step back sometimes and realize I'm not always right, which I think is probably the most powerful tool of all.
Exactly.
Well, I would say even so. There's something that I've really realized this past year from Together Digital, is that relationship with others grows you. It's almost like the greatest accelerator. So when they tell you to get around the people that you want, that are ahead of you in the game, get around the people that are doing what you want to be doing. That's so very real. And so when you place yourself in a networking or an organization that has those people, and you make yourself. So I started this women's association, and I am a part of chambers of commerce. I'm part of all kinds of things.
The traditional ones, yeah.
Yes, but I want to stand in the corner because it always feels fake to me.
Right.
Trying to make conversation with people when you're handing a business card and you don't know me. How do you know?
Please do business with me. I'm the best ever. Please give me your business. I need your business.
How many health insurance
Here's
and
my card.
payroll
Look at me. It's a good picture. Take it.
Correct. Yeah. I mean, there are a million people who do what I do out there. And so.
But I'm the best.
Right. And I mean, I see it. I've just watched it for so many years.
Right.
And so I kind of cringe at networking. And so what do? I start a networking organization.
You want to be the change?
Right. Exactly.
Dude,
Well,
Chris, look at my man listening over here.
Hey, I just showed up.
Tying it back.
What's up, guys?
I heard something. I love
the
it.
first 30 minutes of this, I was like, she said something I'm going to sit on for a minute, and I'm going to wait until she gives me the opportunity to plug
Perfect
it.
timing.
You put it in your pocket for later.
Just
That dude was like,
Yeah.
slide it on in there.
Keep that there for later.
So actually,
Run it
I'm
up.
digging through my pockets like, no, that's not it.
That's a
great.
fortune cookie wrapper.
But my point is that education, it comes in all forms, but we
All forms.
forget
Yep.
that relationship brings out so many things that we cannot experience on our own. The challenges. So it's super easy for me to be enlightened sitting in a room by myself. Like, look at me, I'm so great at everything.
New body, who it
And then
is.
you put somebody in front of me and I'm like, oh, that girl and this and that. All this stuff in my head goes off. And now I have
We
to
all
deal
do.
with that.
Yep.
And so I either rise to that and choose to do something about it or I don't. And so a networking, a good association, places where you will find people who you respect and admire will bring the best things out of you if you choose to rise to them. I've watched women walk
you
away.
choose to rise to them.
Yes, I've watched women walk away and blame me for the time of day that the meetups were. There weren't enough nighttime meetups. We had 5 at night and 3 during the day. I don't know what to tell you,
People who want
you'll
an
hear
excuse will find one.
Correct.
That's the bottom line.
Exactly. So the organization isn't the problem. I'm the problem.
Yes and no. So something you just said right now that resonated tremendously with me because I've, fortunately, unfortunately, I don't know, been beat into it since I was a kid from my grandmother through my mother through growing up through high school. No, literally, it's an old saying. In Spanish, it essentially in English translates to tell me who your friends are and I'll tell you who you are. And that's the truth, right? So it's basically sums up what you're saying. Like if I want to be better, go find better friends. If I want to be, down here hanging out with the homies and stuff, like, go, it's easy to do. We can all do that, So
It's true. And then what ends up happening when I'm faced with these challenges of dealing with other people, because people are a pain in the butt a lot of the time.
Nah, I don't believe that.
So putting yourself in a networking group is like, you're asking for your stuff to get brought up.
For sure.
Yeah.
And so what ends up happening for me when I deal with my stuff, I like myself. So through dealing with these other women, I'm
So
like,
actually
I
feel
did
confident.
well, and I
Right.
start liking myself for who I am through liking these other women and through, just learning how to deal with myself in relationship to other women. It's really cool.
Isn't it amazing how, the things that we should gravitate towards that can give us strength, we push against, like a positive and a negative, right?
That's
Women,
great.
a perfect example of what you're talking about. Instead of attracting and empowering each other, they push away from each other magnetically, right? I can't speak to the women aspect of it, but
Are you sure?
I mean, I'll leave that alone.
I was going to say something, but I just let you go.
That's all right. It's a fun show.
Just because I look fabulous don't mean. But the other side, like loan officers, right? I push away from those when I should be coming together and figuring out how to work it out. It's not necessarily on the same aspect, but it could be anything. It could be, an athletic person. It could be whatever, your profession, all that
But
stuff.
to do that, you have to drop what you think you already know about those people.
Right.
Yes, any preconditions.
Yep.
Hey, so Taryn, obviously the information you're giving. First off, thank you so much for being here.
Absolutely.
I mean, I hope we have you back many times. I hope that you
thanks for
enjoyed
having me.
yourself as much as we enjoyed having you. You clearly, I'm sure, got people that want to contact you, get in touch with you. How do we do that? Where do people reach you?
Yeah.
What's the best way?
This is super easy. I'm Taryn Toth, which is all T's. TarynToth@gmail.com.
You spell it out for us?
Spell it out for us.
Sure. TarynToth@gmail.com.
Perfect. Do you have a cell phone number you want people to reach you on? You prefer Gmail? What's the best way?
Gmail's easiest.
Gmail's
That's
good.
great.
Cool. Any
Yeah.
Insta, Facebook, anything you'd like to share, or any other websites?
No, not really. I mean,
That Gmail going, guys.
Yeah,
That
get those
Gmail,
emails. Send them
though.
in the Gmail for life. There you go. Hey, for real G's, OGs only. And
LinkedIn's
LinkedIn,
a
of course.
great way to find me.
Her profile is fantastic, guys. I can tell you guys from firsthand experience. So please get on there. She's got great information. Obviously, all of the links, the websites to anything that we've just discussed. I hope you guys found this valuable like we did. Taryn, again, can't thank you enough for being here.
It's a true story about your LinkedIn. After I looked at it, I was like, I'm disabling mine. I can't.
Oh my God.
Straight up. And I did.
No, bro.
I did.
Hey, if you got anything from Taryn's visit here, you need to up your game.
I need
Don't
to-
disable it.
I need to
Get with those
fight
friends you
forward,
want to be
not
with.
fall
Fight
backwards,
forward.
That's
you
right.
know?
We
I
need
gotta
to
do
hang
it.
out.
I got it. This is why nobody will remember my name.
Hey, so Taryn, so before we go, we like to give people a real quick kind of sales tip. I had one in mind for the day. Do you maybe have one that you want to share?
A sales tip?
Yeah, just something off the top. You don't have to if not,
Sales
but I
or
just thought,
networking?
hey, you're our guest.
My
Or
num-
networking. Exactly. Either or.
Okay.
Yep.
Well, so my number one tip, I think, is you have to have grit. You have to have
On
keep
the
a
spot,
thick
guys. On the
skin.
spot. This is Taryn.
What is
right
that? What is that?
Talk
word?
about grit.
What does
Yeah.
that mean to you? Grit.
It means that stuff's going to happen, and I am going to be okay and keep going and pursue my goal regardless of what happens on my journey there.
I love it.
So through the good stuff, through the bad stuff, I am going to continue to pursue. When stuff happens, I don't get derailed for very long. I'm a human being, so I get derailed.
There's a little time there.
But I mean, I just keep going because I believe and I know what I'm going toward.
What is grit to you?
So grit, I mean, if you're talking about true grit, it's a badass Western. Oh, no, never mind. Sorry.
Christian Bale was in that, right?
Yeah, my bad. But if we are talking about exactly what she said, I mean, I could not agree more. I think she summed it up perfectly. I think that at the end of the day, listen, man, there is nothing out there. I'll say two things about that. One, nothing out there is easy. I don't care what anybody says. If you're going to do it to the best of your ability, it's not going to be easy. Right?
Nothing worth having.
But nothing worth having, precisely. Maybe that's a better way to sum it up, right? Mm-hmm. Two, I'll say this. I don't care who you are or what you do. You're selling something at the end of the day. Whether you're a doctor, lawyer, engineer, whatever the case, you're selling your service, yourself, your business, your brand. So at the end of the day, if you're not going to get out there, let the rubber meet the road, get told no, learn things through what? Failure, and get that grit and get back up and make it happen, you're never going to succeed, guys. It doesn't matter what you do. So I can be the first to tell you, all I do is fail. And I keep trying again, right? And
Fail
somehow
forward.
it works out. Fail forward. Yep. Exactly.
You know what? That's interesting. I'm not going to start a whole nother thing on it, but that's also something people used to say that to me over and over and over again. But I think it's also a capacity thing.
Yeah, that's true.
You know, because there are times when I just fail. And I'm like, I need to end this campaign and get my stuff together and start a new one. And then there are times, and that's not moving me forward. I'm like really stopping. Okay. And then there are times when I'm able to, whatever's going on, it pushes me forward in that pursuit.
Right.
And so a fail forward, it can be really 50-50. I think, we need to determine, am I cutting my losses here, or am I moving? Is this going to be able to propel me forward?
That's an interesting thought. We got football season coming up, so obviously I'm gonna plug that real quick. But I'm an analogy guy. Chris will tell you.
You guys better get ready for this.
Sick of it.
It's gonna go deep right now.
I come from a football family, so
what I think of
football
failing forward is you got 4 plays to make it 10 yards, right? Failing forward can be something as simple as you meet the defensive line and don't get a single yard. However, because you ran instead of passed, now you've opened your receivers up because they're afraid. What are they going to do on the second? They still can run the ball, but now they have their receivers out. We don't know what kind of coverage to. So even though you fail and you cut ties or you don't move an inch, you're still failing forward, in my opinion, in my definition of it, because
I like that, yeah.
You ran a play and it didn't work, but it opened up your options.
Right. Well, it showed you what that other team was going to do in these scenarios, which is awesome.
100%.
But I think too often times we use that as a phrase for someone who's struggling, like fail forward. I mean, that's been said to me, and I was like,
I get that.
I'm not at that. That's not going to push me forward to what you want from me right now.
No. Yeah. And I think that's a separate I think you're spot on. I think you saying, hey, look, I'm cutting my losses. We're done, right? Like that's that is a
That's a good
conversation
sales
that has,
technique right there.
It has
when
to
do
be.
you do that in every, you know?
But so again, not to go back and play the consummate devil's advocate, but to, in a certain extent, agree with my man Whitwell here, right? Like, are you not propelling yourself forward by giving the power of no a chance? Are you not saying, yo, I'm done with you, I'm moving on to this one?
Yep.
And so in a sense, you're still kind of propelling forward. It may not be in the same trajectory that you had set off to, but now you've realized your course correction. You said, hey, man, we got to go this way when I was initially going that way, right?
You can't undo experience. That's why there is
100%.
no, like, that's why failure is everything.
So